And somebody's saying hi. Okay, welcome all to this exciting session of Let Us Talk It Youth webinar series. We are extremely glad and excited ourselves to present this session. And the response to the earlier sessions have been incredible. We are so thankful for all of your, you know, feedback, comments, your desire to get involved in our project. So we are super excited and super thankful for all your inputs and all your help, support, and your love. So as we all know, the society needs these young energy, creativity, and the willingness to share it around, to share the positivity across now then now more than any time earlier. And it is our endeavor, our Data Stock It team's endeavor to invite new talents from among us to this platform, connecting the world through knowledge sharing and caring as much as possible for each other, as much as we can. So we welcome you and all of us who are joining in from on Facebook, YouTube. Please do leave your comments, feedback, questions in the chat section, and we will answer it at the end during the question answer session. Who has joined from on Zoom, please put your questions, comments, feedback on the chat section. And coming to the topic for today is phone hack, how I unlocked myself from my phone addiction. It doesn't really say that it is like these kids, youths have overcame all the addiction, but we are all struggling, we are all in it together, and it's their perspective and their solution. And please put in your comments and your suggestions as well. And it will be a two-part series, as it will you will come to know as we go forward. And for the topic also, we know that phones were created to be used, but unfortunately they are using us now. And someone rightly said, technology is a good servant, but a bad master. So by the end, we hope that you can ask yourself, are you that slave or the master? And to give the session, we have five terrific youths. We have Srishti, a high school graduate who defines herself as sensible. We have the imaginative Sridula, first time in this session. She's a high school graduate as well. We have the well-known, amazing Abhinav, who is a high school junior, and the wisest of them all, we have for the first time Pranav, a 10th grader, and Siri, a ninth grader. We are extremely happy, Pranav and Siri, that you took this leap and joined the wagon. And we are all waiting, can't we? We are so happy to have you all. And over to you, Srishti.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming. So today's topic will be phone hack, unlocking from my phone addiction. So basically, we're just going to talk about our experiences and give some tips and tricks. Moving on to the next slide, we have our kind of agenda for today. So we're going to have like this introduction going on for each one of us. And the next kind of couple slides would be talking about how we got addicted, why we get addicted, and how can we like end the whole kind of phone addiction. And also at the end, we have a surprise for you guys. It's a challenge and we'll talk about it at the end. So moving on, we have our first presenter today. It's Sridula. Take it away.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Srishti. My name is Sridula. I'm a freshman going to the University of Michigan in the fall. In my free time, I like to garden. You can see a picture of my favorite hibiscus plant in the top right up there. I have a dog. He's in the bottom left of the slide. And I really like reading Calvin and Hobbes and just books in general, too. Thank you for having me, and I hope that I can contribute something really positive today. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Sridula. So next up, we have me. Okay, So, hi, I'm Shristi Chilla. I am a high school graduate. I'm going to be a freshman at Wayne State University, hoping to get a PhD in neuroscience and psychology. So, I kind of just do a lot of things here and there. I dance, I sing, I draw, and I've been in a couple dance teams, and I'm a board member of Inthazar. It's a dance competition, Michigan's biggest dance competition. So I just want to talk about my kind of phone experience just a little bit because, I have all these things going on in my life right now. And where do I kind of insert my phone timing schedule or whatever? Is that I actually don't have a kind of set time to when I'm going to use my phone. It's kind of just like whenever I study and take like a couple minute break, I just go on my phone and then go back to studying. So that's kind of my schedule, which I will talk about later in the presentation. But that's what it is. And yes, I have been addicted to my phone. As I think a junior, I was always on my phone trying to see what people were doing. But I kind of figured out that it's not the best. So just came out and I'll talk about my. Thank you so much. That's me. So next up we have Abhinav Anand. Take it away, Abhinav.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shrishti. Hey everyone, my name is Abhinav Anand. I go to Troy High in Michigan. Sorry, I go to Troy High. I'm a junior in Troy High, and I love to dance. I'm a Bharatanatyam dancer, and I love to act and sing. I was born, and I'm learning Sanskrit, and I've learned the Vedas and the Upanishads, which are ancient Sanskrit literature of India. Me and technology, for me, I'm not addicted to a particular device so much so as the app or the, platform that I'm viewing. So suppose if it's like Netflix, I would watch Netflix from any device. I'm not like addicted to the particular device, but I'm addicted to the platform of it. So yeah, keeping that in mind and keeping that in control has been quite a journey. And many times I would have been like, no, I just want to watch, I just want to play games, I just want to do this. But it's been a learning of like self-control and like, just keeping in mind that it's not healthy for you, and just keeping that in mind and applying it. So thank you. That's me.
Thank you, Abhinav. I definitely agree with that. I'm like addicted to TikTok. It's a bad, but trying to get out of it. Okay, so next up we got Pranav. Pranav, take it away.
Hi, my name is Pranav, and I'm a rising 10th grader at Lambert High School. I like singing, I like playing basketball, and I don't have a phone.
Thank you so much, Pranav. Next up, we have Siri.
Hi, my name is Siri Arkatala, and I'm a rising freshman at Lambert High School. And I like to sing, dance, and knit. And these are my 3 birds at the bottom. And I also don't have a phone. And I feel like technology addiction, it also applies to someone who doesn't have a phone, because I'll still end up, playing video games or watching Netflix on my iPad or the TV. So I feel like this has an impact on people who also don't have a phone.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, Siri. Okay, so moving on to our interactive session, we have Siri speaking and Pranav telling us what technology addiction actually is. Go ahead.
So first, technology addiction is an addiction like any other. And it happens because humans will always try to find, easier alternatives to like anything. And technology provides an easy alternative for entertainment and social interaction.
And the definition of technology addiction is the compulsive use of devices such as phones, tablets, or computers that interferes with your everyday life. Signs that you may be addicted including losing track of time or procrastination. It is related to impulse control problems.
Yeah, Definitely. Thank you for that information. We just wanted to know, let people know what exactly technology addiction is. And I feel like a lot of people can relate to that. So next up, we got a fact that Abhi's going to tell us. And I feel like all of y'all are going to be mind blown.
7 hours. Thank you so much, Srishti, for that. Sorry. 7 hours and 22 minutes. This is how much time an average teen spends on their phone in a day. So in one day, a teen would spend 7 hours and 22 minutes on their phones. That's not something that's right, because 7 hours and 22 minutes is the time that you should be sleeping, is almost your sleeping time, right? An average human adult should be sleeping 8 hours a day, and 7 hours and 22 minutes is just half an hour away from that. So there is something definitely wrong, because teens should not be spending 7 hours and 22 minutes a day on their phones.
Yeah, Abhi, that's definitely so crazy. I mean, as I mentioned in previous sessions, I've always mentioned this, but 8 hours for play, 8 hours for work, and 8 hours for sleep. Where does this phone kind of timings go into? Like, is it play? Is it work? That's crazy that it's almost 8 hours. And to think that people are actually on their phones for this. Next up, I will be talking about why and what led to our addiction. So first off, we have boredom. People are constantly bored, especially in quarantine. They're just there, not having any work to do. I mean, obviously, we all teens can relate. Sometimes I just sit on my bed just thinking about, what am I gonna do today? I got laundry to do, I got schoolwork to do, but I'm not gonna do it. Why? Because I feel like going on my phone. That kind of boredom is actually just comes out of being lazy as well. And it also comes out of kind of procrastinating the work you have. So that is considered into boredom. Like if you have an actual work, obviously you wouldn't be checking your phone a lot, but this kind of I am bored kind of phrase just comes into play when you have work to do, but it's kind of like not on your priority list. So your priorities are set different when you are addicted to your phone. And so you kind of just go on your phone, go on your computer, you know, as Abhi said, you'd be just watching Netflix or YouTube or anything like that. So it's on top of the list. Boredom is on top of the list of kind of getting addicted to a technology kind of device. Okay, so next up, we also got it adds a sense of social value. I cannot stress enough how many kids are on social media just to get socially valued and make friends on social media platforms. They might just have 2 or 3 friends in real life, but on social media, it looks like, oh, they're so popular, they're so famous, and other people viewing this could feel inferior that this person has more followers than I do, or this person is valued more socially than I do, and that kind of I guess I'm looking for the word that is kind of like sense, but okay, I'll just say sense. It's a sense of social value where it comes from you feeling inferior, that you have to grow more than the person that you're feeling inferior from. I am not sure how to completely explain this, but it's, for me, my personal experience is that if somebody has more followers for their singing channel, I would feel inferior and I would try to be more socially involved into all of my channels and all of my accounts to become more popular than them. And that kind of thought leads me into being addicted to my phone. Sorry I didn't explain that well, but I feel like you guys got the point. Next up, we have Shutula explaining the dopamine release.
Thank you, Srishti. So before we get into the technical discussions of dopamine and all that, I want you all to just think back to the last time you dug into your favorite food. For me, that's chocolate chip cookies that were just made and the chocolate chips are still melting. The way your brain feels when digging into your favorite food is pretty similar to what your brain feels when you're checking your friend's vacation status on her Facebook page. A lot of us are interested in the psychology behind cell phone addiction, so let's just dive into that. Our bodies are motivated to do the things that help us survive, like eating food, exercising, or, like Srishti mentioned, interacting socially. The more we do those, the more we want to keep doing them. Social media apps can benefit off of this. We start using our phones, just checking social media apps, texting, etc. It's one of the easiest ways to connect with people and get that important social interaction. So our bodies reward us for that. This creates a habit out of checking Instagram or maintaining your Snapchat streak with your best friend. Eventually, like Srishti mentioned, we started just checking our phones out of boredom. I especially began noticing myself doing this during quarantine. With little to do, I keep pulling out my phone and scrolling through Instagram, especially in the afternoons or evenings when the day is just winding down. It's just the easiest path out of my boredom, and it gives me easier access to the outside world.
Thank you for that, Shridula. That was really good facts that people needed to know. So next up, we have Siri speaking about what and in what ways does addiction affect our lives?
So yeah, the next question, what ways does addiction affect our lives? And the answer is in a lot of ways, and they're pretty harmful effects. So first of all, technology addiction can lead to like procrastination, as like many of you have been through. Like whenever you're on your phone or on technology, like you're less likely to complete your other works like before that. And it can lead to lower performance in school and work. And this can lead to a decline in mental health, and it can lead to loneliness or depression when you're not finishing your work or you're not interacting like in real life. And yeah, I think Sridhula is going to talk about sleep deprivation and stress.
Yeah, thank you, Siri. So, as she mentioned, phone overuse may result in poor mental health, which can then cause poor sleep quality. Smartphone use has actually been found to be related to later bedtimes as well. This is because exposure to the blue light that our phones give off immediately before sleeping makes our bodies less sleepy, leading to sleep deprivation in the long run. My phone, personally, is always within my arm's reach when I'm sleeping, which makes it that much easier for me to browse or chat before going to bed. And that also makes it harder for me to sleep after checking my phone. Additionally, increased cell phone use is linked to stress and less satisfaction with your life. This is often more specific to social media apps on our phones like Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, and TikTok. The more time we spend looking at our friends' pictures on Instagram, the less we tend to rate our lives on the awesomeness scale. We start putting more pressure on ourselves to live up to the standards set by other people's social media posts, other people's YouTube channels, other people's TikToks. I know that I've certainly started to feel a little bit closed off from the world, especially after quarantine started. But remember that those are just snapshots, of other people's lives. Your life is just as awesome.
Definitely. Thank you so much for that kind of inspirational phrase. And yeah, I totally agree on really being like addicted to the phone during this kind of quarantine period. Thank you. So now I'm going to speak about how we can end our addiction. Oh, wait, sorry. I think Abhi's going to speak first. Go ahead, Abhi.
Thank you so much, Srishti. So the first point over here is keep your device and its charger away from your bed. Now, why is this important? The moment you keep your phone next to you when you sleep and a notification comes on, your first response is to check that notification. And as soon as you check that notification, you might want to check some other thing, like how many likes do you have on your second post on Insta? And like that, you would tend to spend so much time on your phone, which does not allow you to sleep. It will decrease your sleeping hours. People tend to charge their devices next to their bed so that in the morning it's like fully charged and you can just pick it and like go. Well, that's not right, because first of all, it decreases your sleep, and second of all, the bright screen that we see on a mobile device, it's not good for your eyes. We sleep in a dark environment to induce those sleeping chemicals which are produced from the brain, right? So your bright screen interferes with this whole process, which also causes loss of sleep. So you should keep your device away from your bed for one reason mainly, that it will cost you sleep. You may tend to spend 2 hours just on your phone before you actually go to sleep, and it can cause you to lose your sleep. The second point I want to make is find non-phone alternatives like a real alarm clock, books, and jocks. Now there's like a trend going right now, and it's like people have started to create rooms which are technological free environmental zones. Sorry, my words came out like really bundled, but yeah, they're basically technology free zones. And so in as the slide says, instead of having like an alarm, keeping an alarm on your phone, they actually get like an alarm clock, or they actually like they have like a cupboard full of books instead of like a TV, you know. And those books may just be for like show and like, you know, really fancy books, but it's something better than not having like a huge full screen TV in your room, right? There have been a lot of people who have started to keep plants in their rooms so that it creates a much better environment, you know, because when you have a room full of like technology, like a computer or like a full screen TV, you tend to get distracted. And especially at this time when COVID is like in this COVID situation where we depend on technology, it's important to know that limit, you know, that limit of how much time should we be on those screens. So having a technology-free environment is really important in your home. This brings me to our third point. This COVID situation has made us really dependent on technology. As Sridula said, technology gives us access to the outside world, and all our news and information comes through social media or like, you know, different talk shows on TV and stuff like that. So at this time, it's important to know your limit. Suppose you have school and your school assignments or summer school, you know, homework is just like for 4 hours. So you should know your time, and you should only spend 4 hours on your laptop, mobile device, or whatever it is. Then you should shut down all of the technology and like go outside, because that affects our eyes, that affects our whole body. You know, sitting down in front of a computer screen, staring at it for 4 hours, it's not healthy for you know, especially for us teens. So technology also provides you the technology, pun intended. It provides you the technology to keep yourself from getting addicted. So screen time is one important technological aspect that we see, where you set a particular time where you can only spend 2 or 4 hours on an app, and after that, the app will just shut down, and you'll get locked out of that app. So it's important for us to utilize such things, because we want to keep addicting non-essential apps away from us. So in folders away from the home screen, such as like games or like different kinds of stuff that you know you're going to spend like 2-3 hours on. So it's important for us to do that. Thank you so much. On to you.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Abhi. Thank you for pointing out all of the things that we need to keep in mind. Moving on to kind of the green side of the graph, or the chart picture. Sorry. Anyways, the first one we have here is turn off notifications. So I'm just gonna speak through my experience kind of for these 3 points that I'm gonna talk about. Turning off notifications. What I basically do is that I keep my notifications on for Gmail, any kind of school apps like Schoology when I was in high school, and I guess apps that really kind of help me through my day, like reminders. Notifications for those kind of apps are okay because they are the ones that keep you on track. Turning off notifications for apps such as Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, all of these, YouTube apps, it is, sorry, I'm trying to word my phrases. Okay. If you turn off notifications for these apps, your attention will solely be on the work that you're doing, and not get distracted from what you're doing, because obviously social media apps are there to kind of distract you during whatever you're doing, and we don't want the little ding or a little buzz that comes with every notification. So it's best that you turn off your notifications, and that's kind of what I do. Coming to my next point, I would say keep to a schedule. As I mentioned before when I was introducing kind of myself, I said that I have a little kind of schedule for my studies. So I study on a 2 hour interval. So I study 2 hours and then I wait for a bit and then 2 hours. Within those 2 hours, I study for 25 minutes, take a 5 minute gap, and then 25 minutes again. So in that 5 minute kind of break, I use my phone to check my social media and or just kind of listen to music or something. I think that's a good schedule for me personally because it's kind of like a reward for every time I study. So it's like, oh, so if I study this 25 minutes, I have the 5 minutes to chill. And then I have to go back to studying. And then in my brain, it's like, okay, so I have a reward for every time I study. And that kind of keeps me going with my studies. So I don't get deviated, I don't get distracted. And with that, as Abhi said, I would keep my phone far, far away from me. I put it in the living room, and then I'd come study in my bedroom. So I think that's a really good trick, I guess, to keep to yourself. Figure out what is good for you and make a schedule. Because I schedule everything in my life. Down to like taking a shower to having an appointment or a meeting somewhere. I schedule everything, and it actually keeps me on my toes. Got to do stuff that are important to me on time. So keeping a schedule is really great. And especially if you have a phone and if you're addicted to a phone, make sure that you have a schedule. And it all comes down to your mindset and how you think, because as long as you have a mindset that, oh, I'm just going to go on my phone and just chill, it's not going to help you. Have a mindset that you gotta only use your phone when you're scheduled to use your phone. And so you're gonna have this control over your body. And I'm just talking about the people who are actually addicted to your phone. And this is not for people who are like always working, constantly working, doing their work, reading books, doing other things. It's for people that are addicted mainly. So yeah, moving on to my third point, designate phone-free zones. This point is self-explanatory. Keep your phones away from your room or a dining table, or make a rule that the phone is not allowed in this area. You can see this in libraries and schools and offices. My dad, especially, he can't take his phone into his office cabin area, and they're supposed to put their phones in like a locker outside, and whenever he gets a break, he can go use his phone. So I feel like that's a really good system. When you're working, you don't get distracted. And it kind of goes hand in hand with turning off notifications. But this is way more effective to keep your phone somewhere else. And while you're in your bedroom or at the dining table, you only focus on what you're supposed to do. Because when you're at a dining table, you would eat, enjoy the food. Why would you want to look at your phone? I mean, enjoy the food. And then in your bedroom, you would either read, sleep, do other stuff, play guitar, do something, but keep your phone away from a kind of designated area. So there are my points. That's all for the presentation today. Next up, I just want to talk about the challenge that we were talking about before. Implement these tips for 1 week and to kind of decrease your cell phone usage, and we'll check back in the next week on how your progress is. Also, the points that we just said are completely up to you. Take a point that only works for you. Don't try to implement everything, because I know all these points that we said don't work for everyone. So yeah, if anybody else want to speak about this, go ahead.
So since we are in quarantine, our everything we rely on is technology, and I have this well, not really teacher. If there are some books we want to read that aren't really published yet, they're still on the internet. So can we just go and read them there, or is that I don't know?
Go ahead, Abhi.
I'll take this one. So what? Wait, what's your name? Pranav. Okay, so what you're saying is that if I want to read a book and it's not available because like you have to go to the library, and in this COVID situation we're not able to. So I want to read it online. Is that what you're trying to say?
Like, I have like, we can go to the library and get some books, but if some books aren't really published yet and they're on the internet right now, can we go on the internet and read those books if we want to?
Okay. So yes, you can. Okay, it's perfectly all right to do that, but you should also like check your other activities. What are you doing? Like, what else are you doing? Are you if with reading your book, like, I don't know, reading 2 chapters, will it take half an hour, or like reading 4 chapters, will it take 1 hour? But like, you should look at all the other activities that you're doing on your computer. Like, are you, for example, watching TV, or are you working on homework assignments? And according to that, you should time yourself on your computer for reading books. Because
I see.
the thing is, like, as we say, the computer, the screen, and like when we continuously look at it, our eyes get really tired. So it's important to keep in mind the health of our eyes. And like, see, reading books, of course, it's knowledgeable, and that's one way that you're using technology really productively. People don't use technology really productively because like, they do other stuff on it. But that's using technology productively. But we should also keep in mind like our health, in the sense, are my eyes doing well, or is it too much? Am I spending too much time on the screen for reading books, or am I in moderation so I can read that book? So just keeping that in mind, I guess we have to like look at that.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, Abhi. I just want to kind of extend on that. It's just another kind of example. For me, my screen time per day is about 5 hours. In that 5 hours, 2.5 hours is Zoom. I'm always on Zoom. I'm always having meetings and talking to people. So I feel like doing something that's really necessary on your phone isn't an addiction. So like Pranav, as you said, reading. Reading is not an addiction. You have to do it. Yes, it might be bad for your eyes here and there, but it's not like you're always on your phone doing other things, because reading is a necessity for you.
I don't even have a phone. I read on the computer.
Okay, yeah, it's okay. Computer, phone, iPad, anything. It's still a necessity and it's not an addiction. So good question. Good job pointing it out. Thank you. Okay, Jignesh Patel asked that what are some fun activities my teens can participate in other than using their phones? Sridhar, you want to answer it?
Yeah, sure. That's actually a really good question. So, if you're trying to oust your phone from your life and you're looking for non-phone dependent activities, reading is a really good option. Like Pranav mentioned, you can read. If you don't have the book in hard copy with you, you can see if your local libraries are doing any kind of non-contact pickup or non-contact drop-off locally, so you can get books without exposing yourself. I think gardening, getting outside of the house once in a while, especially when we're in quarantine, is a really good idea. So maybe start a vegetable garden or take care of the plants that you do have or tend to your lawn. That's something that I really like to do. So I think that's a great way to spend your time. If you have any pets, I know they would love to have your attention for just a little bit longer. My dog is very happy that we've been at home for the past several months straight. He is on cloud nine. So maybe hanging out with your pets, taking them for a walk. If you are if you like to run, for example, taking along your dog with you for a run will help them and also help you guys bond as well. So I think those are some of the things that I like to do personally in my free time when I'm not using my phone. So yeah, I hope that helps.
Yeah, thank you, Sridhar. That was an amazing explanation and answer. Yes, Abhi, go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to add on to this. I mentioned this in like our first webinar, but this COVID situation has given you time, right? And this time is precious. So spend it with your family too. That's really important, spending it with your family, because as soon as like high school or like college or school, you're going to be so busy, and you're going to go back to that monotonous routine in which you're not going to have any time to see your family or spend time with your friends or like parents. And another thing that I would like to add on is like talking to your elders or talking to grandparents or like your family and getting their experiences, on life or on different topics is so not it gives us so much knowledge about what's out there and what are their views. And like talking to them, it actually brings a sense of peace and calmness, and it also brings a lot of knowledge. So spend time with your families, talk to your grandparents, talk to your family who are in America, who are in India, who are wherever, around the world, because this is the time. You have the time right now. So.
Great point, Abhi. Great point. I was thinking that too. It always makes me feel better when I talk to my grandparents during this time, just to know that they're safe, they're doing well, and yeah. I kind of also just want to add on to that. Trying to get away from phone addiction. Try to learn something new. I've been learning how to play like songs on guitar, and
I have a question. You can go ahead. You can go ahead. I'll ask later.
No, it's okay. I'm just telling people that they should learn something new. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Ask a question.
So, about like phone addiction, computer addiction, and stuff like that. So, since it's quarantine, and let's say it's like still school, let's say we're still in like probably May or something, and like let's say my teacher posts YouTube videos on what to do for today's week, like not today's week, but today's like today, and then is that okay if I just watch the video and do something along with it, or yeah?
Yeah, definitely. As I said before, it's a necessity. It's not addiction. Sridhar, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, no, I was just going to re-emphasize what Srishti is saying. So when you're using your technology to learn something, or if you're using it to connect with people, when you're using it not simply out of boredom, but you're using it to get something out of it, like for school, for example, that's not an addiction. There's nothing wrong with that. And actually, technology was meant to be used for those kinds of positive things. Phones came out so we can call people and stay in connection with them. So if it's anything positive, like for education, fitness, connection, communication, definitely go for it. And don't confuse that with addiction. Addiction is when you're using it and you're kind of falling into this like wormhole of technology and you're like squandering your time on it as well. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Siri and Pranav, do you have anything you wanted to add to it? It's okay if you don't. We'll pass you on the other questions. Yeah?
Yeah, I just wanted to, ask you something here. See, I see a lot of kids getting, addicted to the games, and they find it very difficult to, get out of that particular uh, uh, game or scenarios. What do you say? What type of tips they should follow to, get out of those addiction?
Okay, so I'll just kind of say from my point of view, I also have cousins that are always playing video games and they kind of just, it's hard for them to get out of it. So one thing that can be done is that parents, you can take away their video games for at least a week-ish, and then kind of give them something new to do. How old are sorry, how old are the kids though? Like if they're older they would probably understand, but like little kids aged like 11, 12, 13, 14 ish, kids like that are probably going to be sad for a while, but it's best that you take away and hide the video games and give them something new to really focus on, something that they're more interested in. Like my cousin, for example, he does a lot of Lego building and he makes stop motion videos for his YouTube channel, but he's also very addicted to playing games. So what their parents did was that they took away his whole PS4, they put it in a closet where he can't reach because he's only 11 years old, he's this short. But he now does more of a Lego movies and Lego stop motions, and it's really cool to see him build his skill. So I think that's one way you can kind of reduce game usage, game playing stuff. Anybody else want to add on to that?
Yeah, I'd like to add on to that. Yeah, definitely. I agree with Srishti. It's you have to start making kids, like, you have to start making them more productive in what they do. And I feel like we should make them understand why we should not spend so much time, because it affects our health, it affects our mental health, it affects our whole body, just sitting in front of a screen for hours and hours together, um playing some games. So we have to explain it to them, and then we have to also make them realize that no, we have to, like as Shrishti said, give them a set time and be like, no, this is it, and come away from that. And as Shrishti said, like for her cousin, give them more productive activities. That's what I feel like, or help them find the thing that they're interested in, especially in this lockdown, and like give more of that to them. Like as Shrishti said, if it was Legos for her cousin, their parents like encouraged him, you can go ahead and build Legos. So find something that your ward likes and just help him out with that. That's what I think.
Thank you.
So I understand what you said is, to avoid the games from, from out of the reach of the kids. But when we do such type of activity, they get more aggressive, and that aggressiveness, creates, hate with the parents. So how do you think that, that to handle such situation?
It's hard to answer this question only because we're not parents, we're still kids. But Sridhara, do you have something to say?
Yeah, I think if going completely cold turkey doesn't work, I think kind of gradually weaning them off the technology might be something that might work a little bit better. So if one day they're playing games for 1 hour straight, the next day they do 50 minutes of computer games and then 10 minutes of like a puzzle or a board game with their family. And then the next week they do 40 minutes of the computer game and 20 minutes of a puzzle or going outside and playing outside or something like that. So gradually decreasing it might also help them realize that their interests also lie elsewhere, maybe not just in the computer games, but maybe they're interested in, I don't know, drawing or art, or maybe they're interested in board games, or they're interested in learning a new instrument. So that gradual taking them off of it might help. I think that might be something to try as well.
Yeah, oh my God, that's a really great idea. I just kind of want to add on before, Abhi, sorry. I also just want to say, don't make it like an awarding system though, because the kids are going to look forward for the award every time you say no to the gaming. Because if you say no, if you don't play the games, but I'll give you like ice cream or something, each time you say no, they're going to look forward to ice cream. And I feel like that's not a good way to kind of get rid of the will to play games as well, because they're not going to wholeheartedly give up playing games. They're just going to do it just for the sake because they're going to get ice cream or some other reward just like that. So I don't think that's a good process either. But as Sridhara said, just cutting it down gradually will make a difference. Very good topic. Okay, Abhi, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, as kids, we don't know what's good for us. And it's really, it's our parents, they've been placed at such a pedestal that they can come in and tell us what's right or what's wrong for us. So the thing is that being super aggressive with kids is not the way to go about this, because as Dilipji said, they also become super aggressive with us, right? And then a whole unwanted angry environment is created at home. So being very passive about this, but at the same time, as Sridhara said, inducing this decreased amount of like gaming time or technology time is really important. So basically my whole point is that don't be really aggressive with kids, but make them understand and be very passive with it and go slowly, because it's not an immediate process. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to be like, kid, put your video games away. That's not going to happen. They're not going to magically become, unaddicted to games or technology. It's a really gradual process, and we should go according to those steps. That's what
Yeah,
Wow,
that's a really good idea.
that's very nicely said. Even though you're, in teenage, you have, rightly understood what exactly to be handled. Wonderful. The similar type of thing, when it comes to teenagers, they are addicted to WhatsApp and messaging. Uh, what do you think about this type of, addiction? How do you handle that?
Should I take this one? I'll take it. See, according to me, I feel like teenagers, we use WhatsApp as a means of communication with our friends, right? And even if we're addicted to it, there will be a time where we come off of it, in the sense that we just use WhatsApping and like texting as just a means of minimal communication. Like, hey, how are you? Or like, what do you want? What are you doing? Like this. And then later on, this whole conversation will go into a phone call, or it will go into house party, or basically it will go into a video chat where you can like talk for hours and hours together. Well, this is something that can be controlled, of course. As I said, screen time is there. It's important for that teenager to learn self-control and how to hold oneself back from like opening that app or like communicating. But what I really feel is that I feel like WhatsApp and all and texting messages, it's just a small means of communication. The actual problem here is, calling each other, or like FaceTiming each other, or like coming with each other face to face and then chatting for like 2 hours, which is not really a problem, but it becomes problematic when it starts interfering in your work, in your day-to-day life. That's when it becomes a problem.
Yeah, definitely. The kind of addiction that we get is constantly checking and reloading the pages of social media to see who texted you, just out of like, I guess, desperation of friendship, I guess. But I think WhatsApp texting and messaging for us, from our point of view, is like just to say hi, communicate and everything, or even help us out in studying and all that.
So before like any of this Apple like actual screen stuff technology was there, like when phones, like when wired phones were invented, and if people like used to like talk for like, and some people used to like talk for a few hours to just to check what's going on in school, like what's going on in school, who likes who, and is that addiction, or is it just like so communicating?
No, that's not addiction. Here we're just talking about phone, like the phone addiction. Talking to someone is just, well, I guess you're addicted to talking, but I don't know. That's not phone addiction or any kind of addiction at all. I think it's just talking to your friend, catching up with people. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess there is another question in the chat. Yeah, Abhinav, go ahead if you have.
Oh no, I agree with Shrishti. I mean, I made a point earlier saying that like if it starts, it's talking and stuff, it's not an addiction. But when it interferes in your day-to-day life, in your studies, when it starts interfering with your school life or this, then it's not an addiction, but there is a problem, and you need to like start cutting down on that. That's what I was trying to say. But it's not an addiction, not at all. Talking is a means of communication. That's how we develop relationships with each other. So that's really important. So I would not say that is an addiction. Coming on to the question, which is in the chat. Yeah, Shrishti, go ahead.
It says, one of my daughters is always watching Netflix during dinner. What are some ways to engage her more in family discussion and off her phone? Great question. Should I answer this, or whoever wants to go? Okay. Okay, I'm gonna speak from my experience again. Personally, I also sometimes I'm on my phone watching Netflix while eating, only because it gives me the feel of eating in a theater and watching something. But apart from that, my parents also do not let me watch while I'm eating or be on a technological device while I'm eating, and I think that's good. But how to get it off is that, well, my parents just said that, because I'm a foodie, and they just say enjoy your food, kind of savor it and eat it, and I guess they just trying to tell me that focus on my food and get off the technology. I don't think there's a particular like way like I can tell you, but it depends on the kid, and it depends on how you usually approach the kid on a daily basis. Like if you want to say no to a kid, how do you do it in your style? That kind of style, you just got to put it to your kid. And maybe you can, I don't want to say like bribe the kid. Like if you don't watch, I'll give you ice cream again. What's with me and the ice cream examples? But just not don't bribe the kid, but make sure that the kid's eating the food, and maybe you can use like Shridhara's technique where you can like gradually let it down. Like, okay, you can have like 5 minutes of phone time before you eat, or like 10 minutes of phone time after you eat, kind of thing, but not during you eat, when you eat. So I think that's one way. I'm sorry I couldn't answer this too well, but Shridhara, do you have something to say?
Yeah, so so in my family, we actually made the dining area a phone-free zone. So how I've seen not in our household, but in other households, I've seen it enforced in many different ways. One thing that I actually read in a magazine somewhere is that the parents actually just go around with a basket and they just collect everyone's phones, the mom's phone, dad's phone, all the siblings, everyone's phones in a basket. Just put the lid on the basket and put it away, so that when they're eating, not only the teenagers, but no one can have their phone out, which makes it less conducive to hypocrisy and all that stuff. Another thing that Srishti kind of touched upon is savoring your food. So I really like cooking. And when I eat something that I have made, I enjoy it that much more. So I think one way that might be something interesting if you guys want to try is if everyone makes the dinner together, if everyone makes the meal together and everyone eats it together, it's that much more flavorful and that much more fun. One time my family and I, we made enchiladas together from scratch. Total mess because I didn't realize that we didn't have tortillas. So it took like 3 hours longer than expected. So when we were eating all of that together, we didn't have time for phones because we were reflecting, oh, this ingredient was too little, we didn't have enough of this, or we messed up on this part, but this part was amazing. So just the amount of time that we spent reflecting on what we had made and enjoying what we had made us completely forget that we didn't have phones out with us. And the third thing is if Netflix is being maybe on the TV, if someone's watching Netflix on the TV, just change the seat around so the seat is away from the TV and they can't face the TV when eating. I don't know if in this case the Netflix is on a phone or on the TV, but if it's on the TV, that might help as well.
Well,
I would
can participants add on? Or
like to add on. Sorry, do you have something to say, Pranav?
no, I was just gonna add on, but I don't really think that I should.
Oh no, you can go. You can totally go. Give us your point of view.
Yeah, those are thoughts. It's okay.
Or you could just say, which my dad just says, just enjoy your food.
Yeah, just savor it. Bro. Just savor it. Okay. I also kind of just want to add on to what Shridhara said. I feel like when you are on your phone, it's so disrespectful to the person who made the food. Like, I know my mom feels so bad if I am on my phone when I'm eating her food. And obviously, her food is so delicious, amazing. But it's like, if I don't show the gratitude and like, I feel guilty on the inside as well for like, oh my God, my mom made me food with all this love. And if I'm on my phone, there's no respect. So I feel like you have to like kind of tell your kids that respecting your food and that kind of being thankful for it is also a good way. Kind of guilt tripping the kids, but still.
I would like to add on to what Shrishti said, how on the points of respect, how I view it is we're eating something, at our lunch table, and that literally goes into our body, breaks down and becomes one, like in our body. It breaks down into the nutrients that our body needs. It breaks down into this vital energy, vital nutrients, vital sources of protein, carbohydrates, fats, and everything, which gives your body energy. So it's really important to respect the food, because scientifically also, you need to chew your food 32 times. You need to and the moment you're watching Netflix or something like that, your concentration from the food is distracted, and you're looking somewhere, and like you don't care about what's in front of you. You just care about what's on the screen. So taking all of that into consideration, as Srishti said, it's very important to respect that food, because that food goes into our body and provides us with energy. Energy for us to work in a day-to-day life. So I find that it's very important.
Thank you, Abhi. I see another question from Dikshita. It says, can parents influence phone addiction? I would say yes. Kind of just explaining on it, yes, they do influence us a little bit. I feel like obviously psychology plays a role. Kids are more prone to, I guess, learn from observing others, observing elders, and sometimes parents also, they're people, obviously, they are addicted to their phones as well. Facebook, WhatsApp, and other old people apps. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But other apps that they use, they get addicted to it as well because sometimes, obviously, sorry. Okay. Parents move from one country to another. They kind of get distance from their family, their friends, and they're constantly, yes, it's okay to get connected with friends on Facebook and on WhatsApp, talking to everyone. And sometimes kids, I guess, misunderstand this and they say like, oh, you're on your phone all the time, why can't I be on my phone? But they don't understand the value of the parents texting with their old friends or talking to the grandparents. They don't know what the parents are actually doing. Either the parent could even work on their phone, and do many important things on their phones. Obviously that's what a phone is for, but kids misunderstand this, and that's how the kids get influenced. It's not like that parents are misguiding the kids. No, that's not what it is. But it's like kids misunderstand what the parents are doing on their phones. So I feel like it's a good idea when for the parents to let kids know what they actually do on their phone for work, connecting with their old friends. My mom is mostly on her phone making flyers for people, coordinating programs and everything. And my sister, this is another example, my sister was like, why are you always on your phone? Why can't I be on my iPad? And my mom's like, that's not what it is, my guy. I am doing so much work all day on my phone. I have so many people to contact, but you're not me. You're not in my position. We're two different people. You have other things to do. Go learn your violin, go read a book, go do your math. So kids need to understand the difference between parents and themselves. I feel like that's one thing I just wanted to point out. And sorry about the old people app joke. It was just funny. I thought to include something funny, but don't take it personally. Don't get offended, please. Okay. Are there any more questions?
I have something to add.
Yeah, go ahead. Who is it?
So it's me, Pranav.
Okay. Sorry. Go ahead, Pranav.
So a thing that could also help is doing yoga and exercise, and kind of like take like daily walks outside, and try to like it will help with mental / emotional health. So I think that could also help in phone addiction. So
Yeah, that's a good point, Pranav. I would also just like to say, like, teens today, going on with the mental health. I think an auntie pointed out, Vidya auntie, she told us that she pointed out that kids often try to make friends on social media because sometimes, like me, I move around a lot. Other people move around a lot as well. So making friends might be tough in person for them, but making friends on social media is okay. It's okay as long as you kind of know them. But I feel like it turns into an addiction to just like hit up people and then talk to these unknown people. And that kind of addiction is really, really bad, and also plays a role in like mental health, because if the person bullies you, or if the person doesn't respond, you kind of go into this state of sadness, almost depression. And that phone addiction is so bad that it might cost your health. It is really bad. And I've experienced that too when I first moved to USA, and it was not a good time. But yeah, thank you for pointing it out, Pranav.
So thank you, everyone. I mean, I don't see any other questions. And if you have from YouTube any comments, or Facebook any comments, Abhinav, if you can have a quick look and see if we have any. But trust me, all of you, I mean, it was just mind blowing in the sense I mean everyone in watching this session will agree, I suppose, with me that we the what you came or what we the thoughts we had, okay, phone addiction, the same old things, we all know about it and we know what to do, but definitely at the end of the session, I think we are just blown away with the ideas, the deep thoughts that you all provided us. It was like a psychological, almost psychologist, psychiatrist, and others, doctors in in the making. It was wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
Actually, I
And
wanted to add up a small thing.
yeah.
Even though you people are, teenagers, you spoke about all the experience you had. It's all about, you are straightforward what exactly you have you faced, you experienced, and that made the session more, realistic. That's really appreciate all of you. Keep it up, and I think you need to share such things to more and more teenagers, because when you people speak, you will be a more better influencers than adults speak about their needs and requirements.
Thank you so much for
Absolutely.
joining.
Thank you so much for that. We have a question from YouTube. Might I ask, in what way does influence mean? Negatively or positively? Might I add, maybe talking to yourself about it and convincing yourself might be the best way to combat addiction. This has worked for me and it might work for you. So I guess the question over here means is like, what does influence mean? I mean, when your parents influence you, is it positive or negative? And I think we touched upon that, right?
I talked about negative. I don't know how positively it would influence. Maybe like getting the Kindle app is a positive influence. I'm not sure. Who wants to talk about this?
I can. Sorry, go ahead, Abhinav. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Sridhar. Go ahead.
I think parents can absolutely influence this positively. In my experience, my parents don't use their phone that much at all. They do for, communication, work-related things like that, but I've never caught them just like addicted to their phones, and that has helped me kind of start trying to overcome my addiction. And also, kids tend to take after their parents' hobbies as well. So now, every time if my dad or my mom has a hobby that they've had for a while, they've cultivated for a while, um, and I notice them doing that, sometimes I tag along with them. In the time that I could have been using my phone, now I'm applying myself somewhere else productively. So I think that I personally have learned a lot watching my parents go about their everyday lives, and that has influenced me personally positively to try to not spend so much time on my phone and try to overcome my addiction.
Wait, that's a really great point, Sheila. I didn't even think about it. Yeah, because my parents also have a lot of hobbies that they do, and they just include us as well in it. So yeah, I think that is a positive influence. But I think the question, I don't know, I interpreted the question as positive influence on technology. Is there a positive influence from parents on technology?
Um, Wait, what do you mean by that, Srishti?
Because there's a positive influence on technology from the parents for the kids, or I mean negative, because with the so I'm trying to say is that parents use technology and the kids misunderstand it and they want to use their technology as well, and that's the negative side. Positive side being maybe the parents use their technology for something positive, where the kids follow that as well. And my example was downloading the Kindle and reading books on it. Or reading stories on it. Is there like a positive effect and influence from the technology perspective through parents on kids?
Definitely, I though definitely think there is, because even if you, as you said, the Kindle app and the parent starts reading and he starts gaining knowledge from that, the kid would definitely start doing that. There's a really good story where this lady on a London on the London subway, in the London subway on a train, she's sitting and she's reading a book, and her daughter is right next to her and she's reading a book too. And when questioned why, how did you make that happen? Well, if I was on my phone, my daughter would be on the phone too. And to Sridhala's points, as kids, we tend to learn a lot from our parents, their way of living, their way of being. And sometimes as kids, we also, tend to learn a lot from our friends and like from our elders. So it's really important to keep that in mind, especially for parents, which they do, and use technology in a positive way. And in the same way, kids would start using technology in a really positive way.
Yeah, a thought just popped up in my head. When I was a kid, my dad used to play stories from the website Story Nori on the laptop while I was sleeping. So I feel like that's another kind of positive influence from the parents on the kids while using technology. Because every day since then, as a child, I played stories on the laptop and then went to sleep. And I think that's one of the positive aspects of technology. So yeah, great question. Great question.
Wow. So
Another question. Sorry, I'm so sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, Juliana, sorry, I just cut you off.
No problem. Go ahead.
Is using technology for productive and creative topics such as music making and art actually addicting, or do they contribute to addiction in any way? I think too.
I am always on my laptop making songs from GarageBand. It takes 4 to 5 hours, but that is not addiction at all. If it's not for something productive, if it's an essential, if it's a necessity, it is not an addiction. As Sridhara mentioned before, if it's something that stops your work or if something that you're kind of going down through a whirlpool, it is not an addiction unless it's all of that we just mentioned. Making art, making...
Never mind, you can go.
I definitely agree with what you said, because this is the point where we're using technology in a really creative way. And technology has given us that platform to showcase our talents and like use it to rectify what we want to make. So it's definitely not addicting.
Yeah, like even now we're on Zoom. We've been on Zoom for almost an hour and a half. We're not addicted to Zoom. Who would be addicted to Zoom? But that's not what it is. This is an essential. We're informing people about phone addiction, and just because we're on Zoom for a long time doesn't mean we're addicted to it. And I think people should understand that.
Yeah, we're using it in the most productive way as possible. We're creating this environment about important topics which affect society. So yeah, definitely.
So can you put the website link to the StoryNoir website that you talked about?
Sorry. Sure. This was 7 years ago. I don't remember, but I'll try to find it for you. Definitely.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, Sridhara, go ahead.
I know I just wanted to mention to Pranav about the Story Nori thing. I think if you have like a smart speaker at your house, like a Google Home, Alexa, or even like on your phone, you can just say like, hey, smart speaker, tell me a story or something like that. A lot of them have that feature where they will tell you if you want like a real life story or if you want a fable or like a children's story, you can ask it to tell you some of them and they will tell you a story. In case you can't find the link, you can try that as well.
I actually wanted to add up a small thing. See, you kids are mostly influencing the parents also on everyday life, and so basically, every parent is very much busy in their day-to-day business or work, and then they come back and kind of socialize with friends and relatives. But so it also makes them addicted to or get more uh, screen time. So end of the day, I would say children should take the kids out as that is the parents out, and ask them to spend more time in terms of other activities other than screen time. Maybe that will be one of the things kids should actually impose on parents to make it a more better lifestyle.
Great.
That was amazing. This is how we can, like, you have talked so much sense and with so much of love and empathy, I guess, that Dilip here is really thinking that you kids can do wonders. And I totally agree. And when the kids want something desperately, they can make also their parents do it. So thank you, Dilip, for interacting and for asking those very practical questions. And thank you, youth, for giving those awesome answers. And I think why it becomes so relatable is because you as you are not those adults who are just saying we should do this, 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 this. I mean, I see a lot of empathy in it. You see it from parents' point of view and kids' point of view, and you come up with a solution. So since you gave us all such wonderful, practical solutions, we this would be leading to our next week's topic too, where let's put in these solutions into action and then see what is the outcome. If we just talk it and not, work on it, nothing is going to be achieved. So let's put into action and see where we land by next week. So Srishti, would you want to reiterate one more time about the challenge?
Yeah, definitely. So our challenge for next week, for this whole week, is to implement all the tips and tricks that we've talked about to decrease your cell phone usage, and we'll check back in next week. And again, just a disclaimer, not all these tips are going to work for you. Just figure out what works for you and then come back next week and let us know.
And we'll be trying these tips in our own lives too. I certainly have a plan to try all of these for this week and come back next week and share my progress in my phone de-addiction journey.
Definitely.
I'm excited
Sure.
to share my view too. As Julie said, it's time to walk the talk, I guess. And let's, it's going to be a long process, but to overcome it and to proudly present it to everyone next week is going to be a definite achievement.
Yes, I'm really motivated, to share my experiences next week as well. Sounds good, experiential.
Yes, so we are all on it, and all those who had commented and asked for the solutions, if you can also join in next week and give us your feedback, that will be something which will be the in action something. And others who just joined in, got influenced or got inspired, please join us next week as well. So for this week, we are extremely thankful, and we cannot thank you enough, all of you who have joined. And you can see, parents, that yes, opening up, talking, communicating is a very important part of the kids' life. So if you want your kids also to participate, to join, please do email us at webinar@letustalkit.com, or you can text me, or you can call me, and we can get everything started. And trust me, like Pranav and Siri today, they are very shy, you can say, but still the coming up, opening up, and giving some solutions as well. I thought it was really, worth mentioning. So thank you, Pranav and Siri, especially because you are in the 9th and 10th graders, but you took the challenge and you came in. And yes, thank you, Srishti. Thank you, Abhinav. Thank you, Sridullah, for your fantastic comments. And coming to our next week's session, so just to remind you, we have our regular Let Us Talk It professional webinars on work and life. That's on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 12 to 1 p.m. EST. For next week, we have amazing topics. Tuesday, we have topic marketing during COVID. Wednesday, July 29th, we have serverless computing topic on that. And on July 30th, Thursday, we have data visualization, its impact on business and economy. So next, and Friday, of course, we have the Let Us Talk It Youth series, a continued challenge session from today. And we are thankful for all of you who joined, who commented, who asked questions. We thank you all. And if you have to join us, please email us at webinar@letustalkit.com. Thank you all and have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Bye.
So much, Auntie. Bye-bye. Bye,
Thank you
everyone.
so much, Auntie. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you for attending.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.